But yeah, so what have we been up to today?
Oh, sorry. I meant to say welcome back
Well, firstly, welcome back. Yeah,
to the Super Podcast Bros. Are we sticking with that name?
stop doing this.
We
we're too far in now. We are too far in. But why don't you tell the I'll tell the lovely people then what we've been doing today. We have just finished watching the finale of X-Men '97. Fantastic, all in all, I would say. I think the general consensus was that it was very good, but after episode 5, but this has kind of just had a nice home straight, really. Tied it up in a nice little bow.
Yeah. So, I think the internet has got a tendency for taking things too far. I think I've seen a lot of this is the best superhero project ever, full stop. I think some people said it's the best superhero stuff for many, many years. Now, I think I enjoyed this series from the off. I mean, if you listen to the last episode, you heard how excited I got from just the theme tune. So I got prepared for another Villain of the Week-esque series. That's what I was kind of prepared for from the first few episodes.
Okay.
So a little bit disjointed. Not disjointed in a bad way, but like, okay, we're going to do a bit of, Magneto's a new X-Men leader. I thought that was going to be the overall story. Then they did a bit of Madeline Pryor, didn't they? Did Storm losing her powers. So I thought, I did not foresee the story going in this direction. I think there was almost 2 series for me. Episode 1 to 4 and then 5 onwards.
I think that kind of worked a bit for me. This sort of the original X-Men series, the Spider-Man series, you'd have your Villain of the Week, and then you'd maybe have like a 3-4 or 2-3-4 part episode where you'd have a really long drawn out arc. So like you, I probably thought we were probably going to see more of that, but I wasn't upset about it. I really enjoyed the direction they were taking it anyway. And to be honest, if they'd just done a whole series about the Friends of Humanity and stuff versus the X-Men, and the X-Men it being more political, I wouldn't have even minded that either. But I think it was really well executed, and I think they didn't try and do too much with it. I saw this guy on Twitter. I didn't save the tweet because I kind of kissed my teeth and scrolled on. But his theory was that in the last episode...
Oh, wait, hold on. Is this a spoiler? Should we warn about spoilers?
No, because it was a theory. So this was last week.
Okay.
So he said... Basically, Mayo had said Deadpool was off limits for this series. That's why he's not in it.
Thank goodness.
And so this guy was like, Deadpool's probably off limits because of his movie, and that this Wolverine in the Deadpool movie seems to come from an X-Men universe.
Oh, my lord. Okay.
So the X-Men are going to lose. They're going to go into a dark future. Yeah. And it's going to be the TVA pull this animated Wolverine out of the series into live action as Hugh Jackman, and then the two of them work together to restore the X-Men animated series timeline. And I thought that would just be literally the worst possible way to cap this off.
Do you know what's scariest?
What?
That's still possible.
I suppose it is, yeah.
So let's go through it. So I actually really enjoyed episode 1, like you said, the Friends of Humanity thing.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed just kind of re-entering the world from that different perspective. With Charles Xavier gone, right, we're in spoiler territory. If you haven't watched any episodes of X-Men 97 by this point, 2.5 months in, this is your fault.
But yeah, that's an official spoiler warning. But obviously, what are you doing watching this video if you haven't seen the series?
So, I thought that was a really... you spoke about it and you had to send me that video, didn't you? Because we watched the X-Men animated series. We didn't really watch it in order because we had it on DVDs and stuff, and we didn't really remember how it ended.
Yeah.
But to just kind of jump in exactly where it left off was actually a really smart idea, and they really used the opportunity to its fullest potential, I think, throughout the series, but especially in episode 1.
I thought when we first hopped back in, I thought, oh, well, this is weird that no time has passed. I thought it was going to be maybe like a Young Justice season 2 scenario.
Yeah.
Um,
But there's a few years in between, and you fill the gaps in with what they say in the series.
mm-hmm.
But no, it was literally straight on.
But I think it would. I prefer that. I think sticking to the team in my head was even smaller than it was before, and
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, there's like no students. No one's at school there.
No.
But yeah, I quite enjoyed just taking the time to get to know all of these characters. We all know Wolverine, and you know, so he's kind of gone. I think, you know, Morph had a really interesting arc. Sunspot, Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone really had their time to shine, apart from Jean and Wolverine, who obviously kind of get that all the time in every media anyway.
And even although he was the main, I mean, this was his series in my opinion. Even though he's the main character, even Cyclops didn't have an introduction as such.
Yeah,
This is just his series. You know who he is. It wasn't like let's explain what he's about. Just straight in.
I'm glad there was none of that. It was almost just like they treated it almost as if it had ended last summer and they've just picked it back up.
And I think it's because obviously Jean and Wolverine are probably the most popular X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the animated series did a really good job with just building up Cyclops' character anyway. So they're like, you're in, so these are going to be the 3 that we don't need to give you any character development for, really.
I think I've just clocked something.
What's that?
We'll get round to it when we talk about episode 10, but it was an answer to in response to a question you asked me just after you finished watching. But episode 2 then.
2. So 2 is where Magneto needs to kind of become that figurehead then, doesn't he? For the X-Men, and he's battling his own bias, the way he wants to do things for the sake of his best friend. Now, again, a spoiler for the whole series, but Magneto and Professor X are only together for 1 episode. Yet somehow this series does an incredible job of developing their relationship, even when they're apart.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best Magneto Charles stuff I've ever seen. Probably by a distance. Now, watching Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen go at it as thespians is great, but in terms of the actual depth of the relationship, you really, really felt it. In episode 2 is when they started doing it, where Magneto has to be like, I'm going to honour your wishes because I'm mourning you as my best friend. And the voice acting was really good, actually. Okay, something throughout. There's a few cheesy lines.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few corny catchphrases. But I think because it's set in the 90s and because they kind of own that and the way they do it, it kind of pulls off. So the voice acting throughout was really impressive for me. And I think especially Magneto and the way you can hear the conflict within him through his voice. I think episode 2 is another great episode.
I think even without the performance, just him, the way he talks about Professor X, I think we often hear how Professor X views Magneto and kind of just like, well, I don't actually hate him, blah, blah, blah. And Magneto seems to be the more sort of abrasive one. And that kind of seemed to be the case through this series, but we consistently hear how Magneto kind of respects Charles and still loves Charles, and it even culminates in episode 9 as well, where he's like, oh, Charles, don't do this, like, this is too far, when he's trying to take over his mind. And then even after Charles has gone into his mind and done whatever, and they've had that heart to heart, like, his first port of call straight away was to go and save Asteroid M and save the humans no matter what. Because we understand that at his core, we get to see that Magneto is also a good guy, but just with a different perspective on things. And I think previously it's kind of been that Magneto has good intentions for the people he cares about, which is mutants, but is completely, he's basically like mutant, like, you know, genocidal maniac for anyone who's a human. And I think a good Magneto kind of lies in that there's a distaste for humanity and a distrust of humanity, and he's willing to flip on them like we see in this series, but he's not just constantly like, all humans need to die. Yeah, and you know, in the end, it was actually Charles who was the less rational one and the one that risked everything just for the sake of, you know, beating Magneto in this fight and being, you know, feeling like he was right himself. And I think you kind of leave with a really interesting kind of point of reflection of, you know, did Charles even do the right thing? What did Charles...
Or is he just being dogmatic?
Exactly, you know. And it was, you know, I saw someone say, oh, Charles... I'm not sure what your takeaway was, but Charles has erased Magneto's memory and made him into just another version of him. But my takeaway was that he just helped Magneto rediscover who he...
He was a therapist, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
but what did you see?
Well, we've skipped a few episodes here.
We have, sorry, we kind of ran around.
But yeah, definitely, in terms of the relationship between the two, that started in episode 2, I think it's yet to be seen, actually, how Magneto has actually kind of recovered from his comatose state. So we don't actually know if he has actually changed his ways, or if Charles just did enough to get him back into consciousness. So I'll hold fire on that. I hope that he's not actually altered his brain in any way, and that he maybe still has his view that he had before, but is less militant. I actually hope he's actually the Magneto that we saw in episode 2, before Rogue was shot with that weapon. And actually, now I think about it, even afterwards, probably the Magneto in Genosha, where he's, I am pro-mutant, that doesn't necessarily need to be anti-human. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that relationship continues into the next season.
So, episode 3.
No, that's the one with Nathan.
Yes.
So during episode 2, Jean Grey gives birth.
No.
Yeah. So, during episode 2, Madeline Pryor gives birth, because at the end of episode 2, we find out that they have tried to adapt the most convoluted X-Men storyline of all time. So, I as soon as I heard that they were doing Madeline Pryor, I was like, this is going to go awfully. In episode 3, I think they did a great job of just skirting past it, to be really honest.
Yeah, I think my thing with this was, this is kind of like Secret Invasion for me. It's a great reveal.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. But if it's just happened over such a short period of time, you don't have time to feel kind of like betrayed, or even like a sense of like just like violation, and sort of like, oh, I've just been lied to, everything I know is a lie. This Madeline Pryor thing was like, we're 2 episodes in, oh no, this Jean Grey is not actually Jean Grey.
And I think that was the first time where it felt like they relied on you watching the previous animated series.
Yeah, I think my thing is that, you know, Sinister was like, you know, she was like, oh, we could have swapped before we had the baby, or it could have been after we had the baby. But the only times they've considered that they could have been swapped is within the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. The emotional payoff was based on the last, in watching the animated series, but really, in
yeah,
terms of actual continuity, it didn't really matter at all.
Exactly.
So this was, I want to say this was my least favourite episode.
Okay, fair.
But it was important in terms of the plot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was smart of them to, maybe they didn't need to do it at all, I don't know. But like,
I don't like it was, you know, Madeline freaking out, becoming the Goblin Queen or whatever straight away. You know, and then taking the baby to Sinister. I think it would have been nice if it was a sort of scenario where Sinister had come in, and we, you know, after time, we don't know which one's which.
Yeah.
And then Sinister comes in and we find out which one's Madeline because he's able to just shut her down.
Yeah.
And then he takes the baby, and then the two of them kind of reconcile and realise that they both feel the same way to Nathan, and then those two go and rescue him just alone.
Okay, yeah.
I think I would have preferred that a bit more and over a longer period of time. Because you can still have Cable without figuring out who's Madeline, who's Jean, and, you know...
Yeah.
I think that wouldn't have hurt, but it's a really interesting plot point to have regardless. But yeah, I think I'm the same as you. That's probably what I would rank as my least favourite episode. And concurrently, this is the Jubilee episode as well, right?
What do you mean, the Jubilee episode? What was she doing?
She's on a Mojo World, but it's inside a video game. Her and Sunspot.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I can't remember now.
That's
yes,
either...
it is. Yes, it is.
Or is that episode...
No, it was going currently because I remember she woke up out of Mojo World, didn't she? And then all of a sudden, the mansion was like broke up. Or am I mixing up? Because actually, Mojo World was my least favourite episode. I had no business with it.
Really?
Yeah, I was just... It was at that point where I felt like, okay, this is going to be like a... You know... Episode. No, the Mojo one was with Life Death, right?
Yeah, that's episode. That's the next episode. Yeah.
So,
well, we're on that.
it was episode 4 where I thought, okay, this is just going to be an episode of the week. It doesn't really matter from week to week what it is. There's no through line other than the character development.
Okay.
And I accepted that. I was quite happy with it.
I like the Jubilee one. I think it was nice they brought back the original Jubilee voice actress, and I think it's also nice that, you know, Jubilee, I think the first episode follows Jubilee of like the original series. I can't remember.
Jubilee was the... If you think about the movies and how Rogue was the character in, she was the Rogue.
So, you know, and so over 5 seasons of TV and, you know, 27 years... Wait, no, 20...
Almost 30 years.
Yeah, 28, thank you. 92 to 24? That doesn't make sense. The show started in 1992. Oh, so it's 32.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah. Sorry.
But I thought you said carry on.
Sorry, yeah, so, but from the beginning of the show, like, and then you got 5 seasons of TV, and then the show's been on break then for 27 years.
Oh, right, okay.
And Jubilee is not really done... She's there, but her powers are the same, and it's kind of like, they even make a joke about it, like, you know, what are you actually going to do with that?
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that since the comics have been able to develop what her powers can actually do.
Yeah, the comics are a bit like, yeah, we can't just have her just making stuff sparkle. We've got to make her actually blow stuff up.
And like that's what Dazzler's for as well. So like, I think it's really cool that now Jubilee has a
She had her arc to become more powerful. Like she's not.
Yeah,
useless.
So we can see where she can end up as well. I was hoping we'd see more of that throughout the series, but it was pretty cool to have that anyway. I thought the episode was fun, and I think it was a really good idea to split it in half as well. Because if that was just that, I wouldn't have been keen.
Yeah, it would have been too much.
So I'm a big fan of that format from those guys. But then obviously moving into episode 5, just being submitted for...
Well, I think it's important that we touch on Life Death as well.
Oh, really? Because that was the part that I was kind of just like, oh...
I saw what they were trying to do, I just don't think they executed it.
I think it's almost again like a bit quick.
It was too quick.
I think if there was a couple minutes each episode... Just because it doesn't have to be 1 or 2 storylines per episode, you can have Storm feature and just have her progress each time.
Yeah, this is I think what it was they really they did 2 halves of an episode with Storm, right? Mm-hmm. And I think they had a whole episode with Storm, and I think they realised it was too boring, and they realised that because this is getting released weekly, if we put Life Death 1 and 2 together, people will, and they have to wait a week for the next episode, people are going to be livid. Because I saw what they were trying to do, but it didn't work for me, because why did... I don't get the Forge Storm thing that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The adversary was a weird character to use in a way like that, in an episode like that. And so what they were trying to say was Storm could always do this. It was a mental block. Is that what they were trying to say? It just felt weird to me.
It was.
And if that's what they were trying to say, that's a powerful story. I just don't think it kind of it didn't entertain me. And really, Storm kind of fighting through her fears and getting through the claustrophobia, for example, was really cool. But I don't think it was clear enough how claustrophobic she was and how significant that was. And I don't think it was clear enough how she got through the block with her powers either.
I think because it's an animation, they've wanted to kind of keep the episodes to like 25, 30 minutes or less.
Yeah.
It really could have benefited, I think, from maybe more time. So you could kind of just... Because that Storm thing, how much time has passed for her to be falling in love with Forge?
Yeah, that's what I was really unsure about.
Yeah, like...
Because obviously there was days between... Sorry, there was 2 weeks between us seeing her meet him and us fall in love with him, her fall in love with him or whatever, or with each other. But I got the sense that it was literally from one day to the other.
Yeah, it just didn't feel... It simultaneously felt like such a quick tidbit of what we're seeing, but also that it was supposed to maybe be a long period of time, but no one's referencing how long it is outside of this. And so, I don't know. I just think... Like, I agree with you. Just the two of them, it's a bit isolated. It is a cool concept, but I think... And it was nice to see Storm have a real arc and just really grow as a character.
But did she?
I think so.
Because
she believes in herself.
Yeah, but in my memory of the animated series, and even what she did in episode 2, she already believed in herself.
Yeah.
And it felt actually.
But they do put that thing in about her being.
So she. I guess what they had to do was they had to get the X blocker into the series somehow. She had to be the victim of the X blocker. Is that what they called it? Where she lost her powers for good, so they could use it in the end. And so they took away her confidence, I guess. Because she's always been the most confident one. She was always the one who
maybe
looked the most steadfast.
Maybe it's like a commentary on how black women come in with their own inherent sense of self-confidence, and but the world then tears them down even if they have a really clear and strong sense of self. This is if I was in a media exam, this is what I'd be writing. But that's what I kind of think.
I'm sure they're great on your article about it somewhere.
Yeah. But I just I was kind of take it or leave it on that. But it added to Storm as a character instead of her just being the strongest, the coolest, the most beautiful, and smartest as well. Made
it really clear that her confidence and self-belief was crucial to her as well.
Yeah, but now she has that, and no one can take that away from her. Which I think is cool.
Fair enough. So, I remember the day I watched episode 5 because I watched it, and then you came downstairs and said, "I'm gonna restart this right now." And I'm going to watch the whole thing again. What an episode.
I said that, or you said that? You said that to me.
Yeah, I thought it was you.
Yeah. I woke up and I forgot it was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I went on Twitter and I just saw a video of Rogue holding Gambit and I thought, nah, surely not. But, fantastic work.
From the start. From literally they kind of teed it up, the love triangle between Rogue and Gambit. So they've teed it up and they've got that ready. That comes to the forefront. The Nightcrawler introduction, I was missing him. I was like, it's such a missed opportunity because Nightcrawler's become so much more popular in the last 20 years. I thought he would have been in it earlier. They introduced him at the perfect time. The cameos throughout Genosha, the cameos on that round table thing, the interpolitics with Val Cooper and Magneto becoming the head of Genosha. From there, I was in. I was already like, this is my favourite episode at that point.
Again, I think the episodes would have benefited from more time, and I think this would have benefited from being introduced earlier, or when it was, and then this tragedy happening a couple episodes later. I think if you mix things around, you could have introduced Genosha last episode.
They did, though. They didn't introduce... They said it's going to happen.
Yeah, but us being there, us having this tour through Genosha...
You wanted it to settle.
Yeah, because, obviously it's in the original series, but, even if it's at the end of episode... 2
or 3.
Yeah, and Magneto leaves, because it doesn't really have much importance in that whole Madeline storyline. Like, yes, he does. Because they're at the thing where he's giving birth. But after that, like, I don't know. I feel like the second half of the episode with the attack probably could have been an episode or two later.
Okay.
Because I think as comic readers, we have an understanding that this is a massive event, and it's devastating, and it's a massive shift for all of the characters. But Genosha had been a home for mutants for a period of time in the comics, and even now with them having to, after Krakoa's been destroyed, they were there from, what was it, Dawn of X is like 2017, 18, it's years and years and years and years. So it also feels like to us we're losing a home, because the status quo, which we've become so accustomed to, is now just changed.
See, and that's probably where I disagree, because I don't think I don't think why that episode was powerful, or why that event was powerful within the series as well, was about the status quo has changed. I think it was actually about nothing's changed at all. Yeah, they've given us Genosha. Yeah, they've made us part of the UN, etc., etc., etc. The reason why I liked it happening so quickly was because, one, it caught us off guard, because you would think you'd spend more time with them. 2, it was because it was about the 2, 3, 4 episodes prior. It was all about how the world is becoming more tolerant to mutants. The world is accepting them a little bit more. The Friends of Humanity now are a fringe group. And the status quo is now accepting of mutants because of what Charles Xavier did. It happening, the attack happening so soon after they had their almost magnum opus, the dream, actually. It was literally what Magneto called it. It's happening so soon after the dream. It was that quick reminder that actually the attack was building up for 5 episodes in my mind, which is people ignoring the fact they are still hated, and that the fringe groups are still having an influence on the main status quo. And that's what got me. 1, for the shock of it happening so soon after we'd been there, but 2, just because I don't think it was about getting familiar with Genosha. I think it was about getting complacent. Well,
yeah, but my only issue with that is that the first 2 episodes, while it is fringe groups, there are attempts made on their life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Directly on the X-Men.
Yeah, and the UN make out that they were really appalled by it.
Yeah, but I just think that it's not really... Because it wasn't the UN or anyone who did this in the end anyway.
No,
was still...
we didn't know.
Yeah, but I'm saying... But that is the payoff of what it is. And, I think for me, it was a sense of... If the first few episodes were about... If they reinforced the idea of, oh, well, President Kelly's rooting for us now, blah, blah, blah. And then they fought Mr. Sinister and the Adversary and Mojo, and Professor X is off with the Shi'ar, all the other elements of the X-Men, then I'd be like, oh, wow, yeah, you almost forgot that humans were the biggest threat to mutant kind.
That's what happened.
But I think it's not really, because, their first thing is, oh, well, it was Trask. It wasn't like, oh, how could this happen? Who did this to us? Oh, it was Trask and whatever the other guy's name is, So I think...
Gyrick,
yeah.
What do you mean?
Because that's the first thing they do after that episode. Rogue goes and hunts.
We're talking about episode 5, though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, for me then, I was just like, oh, right, well, who's done this now? Because there were Sentinels being built to hunt mutants in the first episode, and then there was a Master Mold at the end of the first episode, and then, the UN gets attacked by the Friends of Humanity in the second episode. So within 2 episodes, we've had 3 separate instances of, like, large-scale attacks.
They weren't, though.
A Master Mold is, like, until that point.
In episode 1, there was that gang.
Yeah.
That was hunting Sunspot, right?
Yeah.
And then there was the Master Mold.
Yeah.
In the desert.
Yeah.
Then in episode 2, there's that protest about Magneto. Not about, like, mutants, about Magneto.
Fair.
And then that one Executioner guy.
No. It wasn't Executioner versus the X-Men, though, if you remember.
No. But,
yeah.
like, there was a few.
So it was easy I think the point was, it was easy for them to get whipped up as soon as there was someone willing to say and do what was really on their hearts. So
but we still had 3 episodes after that where there wasn't much.
Yeah, and I think, that's kind of alright, but I think it didn't...
I don't remember how episode 2 ended.
Yeah, but that doesn't hit... I don't know. I think it was surprising, and I was like, oh, nuts, but I was kind of like, well, I knew Genosha was going to be destroyed. I think I get what you mean of kind of pump faking the comic readers and people who know about what's supposed to happen by having it happen straight away. But I just think if they'd kind of done more work, instead of just saying it, if the sort of narrative threads were less focused on human threats in the first couple episodes, which I liked, which is why I'm saying I would have moved that to a different point in the series. Okay. But if you wanted to keep that where it was, I think I would just say, don't do the human stuff. Just have it make it seem like, things have been positive and they've been accepted. But yeah, then that's the point. Like, that's what I would have liked. But Guy Rick and Trask are guys from the original series anyway, so if we're carrying stuff over, if they said, well, we've got them in custody or whatever, or they're just large, they're not doing anything, and then that was it. And then it happened, and then they were like, oh, well, it's you two. Oh, wait, no, it's Bastion, because it was Bastion, but we had not had an introduction to Bastion until I want to say the end of episode 6?
No, because episode 6 was a filler episode. It would have been the end of episode 7.
Episode 7, then yeah. So it was like, even the real person who it was...
wasn't revealed.
Yeah.
Look, I think we're going to agree to disagree, yeah.
I think that's fair, yeah.
So I'll beat you up after.
But the ending, though, I think we can agree that as soon as they get to that ball, that gala, like, everything from there, like, chef's kiss. Mm-hmm. The animation, top-notch. The music... I think was amazing. What they did, whatever that was. Yeah, I was thinking, God, this is so... I think what I enjoyed about the music in that scene was that it was not like any specific kind of music that I was familiar with or that's popular. And it was like, this seems like their own thing. This seems like their own...
they're making a culture,
distinct, right? Distinct culture,
yeah.
So I think,
even the way in which the ball was kind of held... Mm-hmm. There were just people just flying, like willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like they were building up a culture. It felt real.
Yeah.
It felt like what would really happen if mutants had their own land.
Gambit fell down, unfortunately, the Reed Richards trap. Every hotel got the chair. Just, it's alright. You can be with him.
Me and more, whatever you said, I can't remember what.
Mon ami.
And I think we touched on it before. Having the confidence to be like, we're going to ignore half of the characters today. We're going to go deep on these 3. Mm-hmm. It's really good. And actually, I think what's important to point out as well, it was nice to see the snippets of what was going on with those interviews in the X-Mansion as well. I thought those were really important for the psyches of the rest of the X-Men.
Yeah, Cyclops getting a little bit...
what was going to happen.
Just sliding.
Yeah, it was really good. I think it was a near perfect animated episode.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do much more than that.
I think it was really, really well done. I think...
you feel the emotion.
Yeah, exactly. But also, like, the despair of it, just like, everything falling apart. And the X, you think, oh, well, the X-Men are going to turn up. No. Or no one turns up. And I like that, everything we see is the sum total of the whole attack. So it's done as soon as the episode's done.
Yeah, yeah.
So everything we've seen, it's not like, oh, maybe there's another part of the island that's safe, or, you know, what's going to happen after this. You just experienced the whole thing like...
You're in it.
Yeah.
Did I hear you say my man wanted to compare it to 9/11 or something? He wanted to have...
Yeah, yes, I can't remember who said it. It may have been Bodemeo, but I remember seeing that the point was that after 9/11, people felt a real, like, palpable change in society, and the idea was that X-Men, the original X-Men, was a link to the 90s where things seemed to be a lot more cut and dry and simple. And then that happened and everything shifted. And this was kind of meant to reflect an event like that for us as the viewers, that, oh, okay, like, the world actually, it's nice to look back to the 90s, but the world isn't as simple as it was in our eyes, as it, like, when we were in that point in time.
There's really interesting ways you can look at it. The post 9/11 world is a world which is cynical. It's a world that questions the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a world that makes us realise no one community, city, country is an island. Metaphorically, it's not an island. And that lends itself really, really well to the X-Men. Superheroes, traditionally, in the Golden Age, the Supermans, the Captain Americas, the Shazams, or the Captain Marvels, they were about keeping things the same, right? They're about protecting the status quo. They save the day and everything reverts back to how it was in the morning, right? The X-Men's whole mission is to battle that status quo. And I think that's probably what was extra powerful about this episode. If this was meant to be their 9/11 event, where you have that societal shift that we experienced in real life post 9/11, within that animated series, it lends itself to what the X-Men are all about, which is you have to question the people in power. You have to question what you believe. You have to actually start to understand what you originally fear or what you've been told to fear. I think they kind of the creators of this series understood that really well.
Yeah, I think it was very, very powerful. I think on different levels as well, because like we said about Rogue, Gambit, and Magneto. Although the only thing I would say is that I was thinking that all along, Magneto and Rogue's relationship wouldn't actually be romantic. It would just be that she could feel touch from him, and it would end up being like a surrogate father-daughter situation. Obviously, I was grossly wrong.
Yeah.
And perhaps next season we'll look into maybe the ethical issues or the moral issues that might come into play.
Yeah.
Someone who's had to run away from home because of their dad, and then an old man starting a relationship with them. But that didn't seem to be the implication, and I think it was Emergency Awesome ended up, all Nando V movies ended up predicting the same thing. It was Nando V movies, and I thought, I think that would be good. That Gambit's worrying over nothing, and then perhaps this is what we see into Gambit, that he's not actually as sure of himself as we always thought he was. But as it played out, I think I really enjoyed that. Actually, no, Gambit is so sure of himself. He just said, "You do what you want. Yeah, you're gonna end up coming back. I'm gonna kill this giant Sentinel that your Omega level mutant boyfriend couldn't." Obviously that wasn't the reason he did it, but and I'm gonna still come and rescue you and still look out for you, even though you've broken my heart. I just think that was even cooler. That maybe everyone doesn't have to have a crippling sense of self-doubt. They can just be like, nah, like I'm just that guy. I think what you were saying about Storm, I was really happy they did that with Gambit. So, obviously, like I said, I picked apart, but the reason I picked it apart so much, and I'm talking about where it should be placed in this series, is because like the length, the entire span of the episode I was watching, I was just like, this is just fantastic. Like it's at such a high level.
The moment that hit me, I'm glad they referred back to it in the later episodes, was when Magneto looked at Leech.
Oh.
I said, don't be afraid. That's when... That summed up so much of Leech being such a... I was going to say insignificant. That's mean.
Nah, I hate...
Such a minor character.
He is annoying, though,
And the little parts of... That's what Magneto's all about. As like you said earlier, right? Which is, he's not anti-human, but he's so pro-mutant. He does have genuine compassion and love for people. Yeah,
but I think it's also as well, like, it is meant to almost be like a callback to the Holocaust. It's like, you know, because he knows what it's like to just be facing certain death. And like, you know, I'm not, you know, we don't go into it in the series, but I'm sure, you know, it's just a part of, he just wants to reassure this kid, even though that he seems to have come to terms with the fact that he is also going to die. And so it's like, I would rather lie to you so you can die feeling safe and not realising what's happening than have you have to wait in fear like I did. And, you know, I think while he doesn't regret the way he is, he understands why he has to be the way he is. I think, like you said, the love and compassion means that he doesn't want any other mutant to have to go through the type of things he went through and end up like him.
Yeah.
I think that's why he likes Charles, because he wishes he could be like Charles.
But he doesn't have it in him.
Yeah.
Actually, that also comes up a little bit later as well.
Well, yeah. So... Yeah,
powerful, man. So, go on then. What are you scoring that on IMDb? If you had a out of 10 score, what are you giving that episode?
Yeah, I give it like I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah.
You can do decimal points, you know.
I don't like it. Unless it's 0.5, I really hate it when people do that. You're not a computer. You've not had to do a sum to get here. Just do the round or half number.
If I think Attack on Titan was season 2, episode 7, I think it was. Whatever episode it was. It got something like 9.7, right?
Okay.
I'm going to give this episode a 9.4.
Okay.
Because it was close.
I think my gripe, actually, now I think about it, is just that, and this is not the gripe on the episode, but after that, Madeline actually died. I think...
Yeah, it would have been fun if she did, huh?
Yeah, I think...
They killed some characters I wish they hadn't killed.
Yeah, I think it... But you know what? Yeah, like, they don't know how long they're going to do the show, and there's 1,000,001 X-Men characters, and maybe they just want to get into some stuff that is, you know, they've moved into, like, the noughties now, of the comic run, the stuff they're adapting, so it's... Well, except the end of it. But I think maybe it's just that they're looking for pastures new, introducing new characters instead of maybe focusing on things like Madeline and Jean. So, yeah.
So look, I gave if I'm giving episode 5 at 9.4, episode 6 is a
4.9.
Is a 7.8. I don't know. It was a filler episode, wasn't it?
This is just pure Storm, isn't it?
Calm down. No, it's got Charles Xavier and the Shi'ar Empire as well. I could have left that. I didn't care. Cool to see Vulcan. Cool to see Gladiator. The thing is, we know what Charles Xavier is about, so I know that episode was about showing that even on another planet, Charles is all about helping one another out and explaining his philosophy. Problem is, we know his philosophy already and we understand it, and we're on his side generally for it.
Yeah.
I didn't need that episode, man. You could have done that. You could have done the shift over to the Shi'ar episode within something else.
Yeah, you know, obviously I'm sure the Shi'ar are going to come back and this is going to be important, but the fact that we do not get to see the payoff to that, obviously, you know, we're not entitled to it, but it would have been nice after having...
Yeah, we know what his philosophy is. Do you want to show it working so we can be on his side?
Yeah, or is it that he gave that whole lecture, ditched his, you know, wife-to-be and left her at the clutches of her, like, villainous sister...
Yeah.
To come back and also stop walking for some reason. Like I understand.
Does power suit not work on Earth?
That's what I mean. Like, why did he take it off? Like, I guess it's metal, so he wasn't going to wear it to Magneto. But I guess wheelchairs are also metal.
Made out of metal should probably stay away from Magneto, right?
Oh, you think, wouldn't you? You would think.
But yeah, we'll let's just skip episode 7, shall we? Get back on track. So this is where Rogue is going crazy.
Yeah, this was all right. People were really upset about the Captain America thing, and it's just like...
No, that's exactly what they're about. We spoke about this and how to introduce the X-Men into the MCU.
Yeah, they should feel let down by these people because
They are.
people are like, Captain America's not a bootlicker. He routine.
He's called.
No,
Captain America.
I don't think he is because they're like, oh, he routinely disobeys the government. And I think that's fair because he does. He does.
Yeah.
What's most what? All right, so exactly, yeah.
But everything else is all about. He still thinks it's 1945. He's trying to make it 1945.
No, but he's not. He's not an agent of the government. That's the thing. He does things. He is, but he does things for the benefit of the American people, like in what usually turns out to be the most beneficial way.
Where was he?
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. So like, I think
when we get to episode 10, there's a lot of people who are missing.
A couple man should be hanging there as a shame, but people are like, oh, because he said, oh, he wasn't sure he wouldn't be able to go do a mission down in Mexico without it being an international accident. No, that's completely fair.
But he's not an agent. But he's not an agent of the government.
No, he's not. But he's completely representative of the American people. It's the same in the Superman comics. Why doesn't Superman just go around and?
He does.
No, he doesn't.
The Earth all the time.
No, he doesn't.
He does go around the Earth.
Why doesn't he go to Kandak?
Right,
why is he not allowed in
He
Kandak?
doesn't go to Kandak. Yeah, but there's some places he doesn't go to. But he does go around the world.
Yeah, I'm saying he does go around, but why does he not go to every single country and fix everything? Because as he says, because Superman says, "Oh, I'm a citizen of the world. I'm not from this planet.
Yeah.
I landed in America. I have American parents, but I'm Kryptonian and I'm American. But like, I don't represent America, right?
Look.
It's the same with Captain America. He resides in America and he fights the American people, but he also fights whoever else to protect the rest of the world. But what I'm saying is, he is identifiable as the Avengers from America. So if he goes to Mexico and then does something against the Mexican government,
as far as I remember, the Avengers ain't American.
Nothing.
He's the only one called Captain America.
Mate,
the Avengers saved the world.
Sorry, but like, it's not about because he's saying he wants to do it, but he can't.
Yeah, he wants to go ask people.
Yeah. Mate, because it's completely... what are you going to do then if Mexico's like, oh, well, Captain America came in and this woman who... Because he doesn't know what Rose's going to do. Rose completely willing, she lets Trask die. Or Gyrick die, whichever one it is.
I bet he wouldn't have died if he was there.
No, that's the problem. He can't do anything to stop her.
Yeah, he can't.
So, I didn't have a problem with that. And people were really upset. And I was just like, oh, it's whatever. But the point is that the mutants... They're not seen as American, so the American government will turn against them, so they don't have the liberty of feeling that way. I think Captain America not understanding that, but also, but I think it doesn't detract from his character. I think it's important that the mutants don't hate the Avengers, but they can feel let down by the Avengers. Yeah, and I think that kind of characterizes it perfectly. Now, if Captain America was like, nah, you shouldn't even be able to leave this place, you dirty mutant. I'm going to arrest you right now. Yeah.
It's not, but no, I think it's possible to be, maybe bootlick is too strong, but it's naive ignorance. Because it's something outside of his own experience, he doesn't realise why they shouldn't go to the government and ask for permission to go to Mexico. I think that's a minor part of the episode anyway. I think it's just a nice fun cameo, right?
Yeah.
Someone to explain that there is an OZT thing going on.
How did he get their shield back?
He must have gone for a long walk.
Yeah.
The best part about that for me, about the episode for me, actually was the getting the team back together again thing. So the funeral, showing the different personalities again. Wolverine Jubilee being angry. This is probably her first type of grief, really, other than Professor X. First grief we've seen on screen. Wolverine being so used to mourning, he knows how to deal with it and knows how other people react to it. Jean almost being like the therapist around the whole group. It was nice seeing those fun dynamics again. And then obviously Nightcrawler just speaking in poetry.
Yeah.
It's always fun to listen to.
Oh mate, I like the bit where Rogue's crying. I think, who is it? Jean puts her hand on her shoulder, and everyone's looking really sad and like, oh, we're here for you. And then Morph and Wolverine are just like chummed up next to each other, just like having a chuckle.
Are they?
Yeah,
I don't remember them being there.
Yeah, they are. No, they are there.
Yeah.
But everyone else is like, like they've got a face on it. This is, we're here for you. It's like Morph and Wolverine don't understand why they're there, and they've just been talking to each other the entire time.
Oh, what?
No, it's not. It's nothing weird, but they're just like having a little chuckle to each other. I just think that's fun. I think up until obviously the last episode, I just thought oh man, it's just these two dudes, like, they're just the most unserious people. They don't have any storylines about them. They're just goofing off. Obviously, then we find out Morph is in love with Wolverine. So in Wolverine's head, he's been talking about...
Wait, is that what...
That's what that was, yeah. Because I thought it was, he's just trying to reassure him, but Bodemayo again, like I said, worth a follow on Twitter.
What, Morph's gay?
Well, Morph is not a man or woman. So Morph is just Morph. So Morph is just in love with Wolverine. And so
I thought they were just best mates.
No, and that's another thing. Because Bodemayo is like, every gay person like has had this scenario where like they're deeply in love with this guy.
Okay.
And the guy's just like, oh man, we're just the best of friends. And so it's kind of funny that for us as like straight people, we've kind of just been like, oh man, these two, man, they're just the best friends.
It's like you know when you're in history and it's the historian to do a TV show. It's like, yeah, so this author was really good friends with this poet, so much so they lived together.
They even slept in the same bed.
Just best mate.
Yeah.
I didn't clock that in the episode, but yeah, I really enjoyed the episode, and then
Morph turned into Quicksilver.
Woo! Cable's back, yeah, and then obviously the big reveal at the end. Bastion is the big bad, and Prime Sentinels everywhere. For me, the animation peaked in episode 8. Episode 8 was the peak of animation for me. The action kicked off, so it's when all the Prime Sentinels were activated.
Yeah.
That Wolverine Nightcrawler fight.
Getting pulled through the BAMF was just like...
that was great. But even before that, just like the fluidity in the actual fighting styles for both of them was crisp. Oh my days!
What is it? That bit where Wolverine's in the air and he's going around cutting them. Yeah. The directions was just like Wolverine spins around and cuts or something like that. And then the animator was just like, "What if I made this into like the coolest thing ever?" Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
3-sword Nightcrawler.
That was
actually, to be fair, even the summers in the car, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. Again,
and I forgot we also get the payoff with Sunspot as well. So that powerful moment where his mum turns him over.
Was that episode? Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's so peak. That was very, very peak, and I think it's kind of cool to kind of see that he finally feels comfortable, and then like it gets taken away from him.
Yeah, it's the performative. The performative acceptance, right? And I think I imagine that's something. But if Bodemayo is a gay man himself, right?
I was gonna say it does feel like
that's something he's experienced. You know, there are people who aren't racist to you, but would never bring you around the house.
Well,
there are some people who, they say all the right things, and they're not a sexist, they're not a rapist themselves. But they're not going to G-check their friend. Yeah,
or, people were just like, I completely like these people, but if this was my son...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where Bodemayo is kind of...
Yeah, I think it hit because you're feeling so optimistic, like the both of them, and then it just like goes down like a lead balloon.
Literally one sentence.
Yeah. Because you think it worked, but... Yeah, and then obviously jumping into episode 9, because obviously it's a 3-parter.
Yeah.
Episode 9 for me was kind of just like, okay. Blue team, gold team, worst team compositions of all time.
So, this is what I'll never, ever, ever understand, right? The man is famous for having metal claws. Mm-hmm. Why is he there? He actually would have done a much better job trying to take down Bastion.
It's true.
So, why is... Okay, Beast is there for the
tech or whatever.
Tech, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
Actually, just send Wolverine anyway. You don't even need to swap him out. But in my mind, Jean Grey's obviously the hard hitter there. But Storm's there. Jean Grey would do a much better job fighting Magneto than Wolverine would.
But also, they know Sinister is working with Bastion, right?
I don't think they do at that point.
Okay, because I was going to say, Cable being there makes even less sense. Yeah. Obviously, he does have a metal arm. Switch it out. Beast can make a plastic one. 3D print it. Or just don't send.
Don't send Wolverine.
It's true. It's true.
Don't send Wolverine.
It's true. I mean, but send. Yeah. I think Jean, she can't do anything with his mind.
With Cable's mind.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going on an asteroid that potentially could fall out the sky, or you're fighting against a guy who can control any metal, how about someone who can kind of counteract that power, right? Bring her along.
So many bad decisions were made. Maybe they were all just still shocked. Why is everyone blaming Charles Xavier?
I'm blaming Charles.
Why? Wait. I don't understand why it's his fault.
Why is he going there? Once again, he's in a metal wheelchair. There's a reason he's crawling at the end of the episode.
I know why he went there. I meant beforehand. When
Cyclops switched to team.
This is all your fault.
Oh, yeah.
I was literally off planet. No, you made Magneto leader of the X-Men. Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah.
Magneto mellowed out.
Mm-hmm. He was chill. But also Cyclops what did he say? Like, he was like, oh, I wanted you two to leave. And then Cyclops was like, yeah, but Sinister still would have done this and Bastion would have still done it. So it's like, oh.
You know that then.
So it's not anyone's fault. These things were going to happen regardless. No one caused these things to happen.
It's not Charles Xavier's fault. So it's not even just Cyclops, to be fair, because everyone's saying it. Sunspot, know your place.
What are you doing here?
You're talking to the mutant almost like revolutionary, the Che Guevara of mutant relations.
It is crazy.
And my man's turning around like, so why did you leave? Shut up! You've been a mutant for 5 minutes. That jarred me. Jarred me.
Be mindful of why you were invited to the section, Sunspot, because you've not fought for anyone or anything yet. You
literally accepted being a mutant. This episode.
Yeah, it's nuts. Goodness, also, like, obviously we know what Sunspot's powers are. Can we see it in action?
At this point, but
bro's just flying.
We did see the next episode,
like a bit.
But yeah, bro was just flying.
Yeah.
Like, look, I can make my hair tingle.
I think that Jubilee should have gone with Magneto. It makes no sense. But if you wanted Sunspot to be with him, I think Sunspot should have just followed Jubilee.
Do you know why I think? No, I think Sunspot should have led, because I think Sunspot was still hurt by his mum.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why more people didn't go, I mean this genuinely now, is because they were like, oh, don't know how those people are going to get up there if they can't fly.
Yeah.
I think that was the main reason why someone like Beast didn't go with it.
Because
really, Beast's arc was going in Magneto's direction.
Bro, because he's so mad at Trish.
Yeah. But then they were like, oh, Beast can't fly, so he's going to have to stay.
Yeah. Unless there's a series of poles leading up to an asteroid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think probably could have and should have been a few more people on that asteroid.
Yeah.
Bro was with the Brotherhood of Mutants for like 5 series straight. Obviously, I get, like, because he doesn't see himself as a villain. You know, he maybe doesn't want to hang around with these villainous dudes. But, like, you know, multiple man was on Genosha. I'm sure he's not. Could have provided some serious numbers for the defense.
Mystique is somewhere.
Yeah, I suppose she's obviously hard to find. But, like, yeah.
But if Magneto put out a broadcast like, yo, Raven, we're getting the band back together.
Yeah. I mean, if the geezer can send electromagnetic pulses all over the planet, he can figure out where Juggernaut is because he's constantly covered in armour and he can't take it off. I'm just like, go pick him up. Like, But yeah, Magneto, I mean, Val was probably right. Magneto's not wrong. That was the only way. I think Charles... Obviously, like, science, I'm not going to be like, oh, they should have let him carry on EMPing the planet. Because the planet there'd be irreparable damage to the...
Yeah, I think I get that.
I think, yeah, because of what he'd done...
Does that mess the seasons up or something? Was that what they were trying to say?
I don't know, something like that. And yeah, I get people... But I think after a day or two, anyone who was on life support and has died... Sorry, anyone who's on life support to live, obviously... Because there's life support. They would have died by now. Yeah. So, let him carry on. The planes have fallen out the sky. Yeah, the damage has been done. Let him carry on for a bit. Kill Bastion. Yeah. Why are we trying to arrest the guy?
Maybe it's because we didn't have time towards the end of the series, because this was in the last episode, to actually see if this is the direction he was going. But another person who looked like they were ready to snap, and another person who probably should have gone on Magneto's ship was Cyclops. Right?
Yeah!
So when he shot Xavier's wheelchair, I thought that's the direction they were going in, not the whole...
Yeah.
But Cyclops was right in that instant, which was, like, you can't turn the power back on yet. Like, the people you call family are surrounded by hundreds of Sentinels right now.
Yeah. I mean, Cyclops, made sense, mate. I mean... He probably only did that because he was still mad that he thought this was all Xavier's fault.
And he only did it. It wasn't because he cared about the rest. He cared about Jean.
Yeah, I don't even think he really cared about me. That bit with his eyes though, that was good. I like that. He's like, you have your father's. I was like,
yeah, that was good.
And then I was like, well, Cable's a psychic. He's a world class. No, he's not. He says.
He is.
He is. They haven't said that in this, but they say he's a world class.
Telekinetic.
Yeah, but obviously he's a psychic. Jean's a psychic. Why is the transmission fuzzy? It doesn't work off signal, right? She was further away at the beginning.
I thought it was because she was busy.
Busy what?
Telekinetic stuff. Because she was holding the asteroid up.
Not yet. Not at that point. Those two took a 2-minute hiatus.
I thought.
So we could say goodbye. Obviously, I'm just nitpicking because I thought it was funny, but I remember sat there thinking like, there's no
static.
Yeah, they're not. But why is it going like that? It's a mental projection. Why is it just blue? Why is it like a Star Wars hologram?
I don't know.
No, you don't, because it don't make any sense.
I mean, to be fair, the hologram thing.
That's just how they do all of their psychic stuff. But yeah, I don't know why it's like sketching out. But alright, so the season ends. Bastian's beaten.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't quite get the pulled through time thing. I think I looked away for like a.
No. There's nothing. They managed to push the asteroid back up, and then it just goes.
Boom. Right, and okay, so I didn't miss anything. I was just like, okay. So next season.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking throughout this season, I'd like to see a few more of the X-Men come back. I want to see Colossus.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the board, are you?
Huh?
You're talking about the board with all the different X-Men on it.
I didn't see that. No.
Oh right.
No, I was so. This is where I realised like what's going to happen next season. I wanted to see more X-Men. When I saw them get pulled through time, I thought, oh no, we're going to stick with this team. They're going to do an Apocalypse storyline.
Yeah, can't wait for them to make Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Right.
That'll be fun. And then I was like, oh no, we are actually going to see more X-Men by the looks of it.
Mm.
I can't hope for anything more than that. I'm really
so
forward to it.
What you missed, obviously in the episode we see...
So you're talking about Forge's board where he's
so you saw that?
Yeah, I didn't have the time to pause it and look through
okay.
Image.
But obviously, within the series, we know magic exists, and obviously, if there's magic, there's Colossus, and Colossus is on the poster.
Yeah.
Bishop's back. Let's go.
Let's go. I think he might get through the Brotherhood of Mutants as well. I can imagine him
maybe, obviously, Juggernaut. Toad. Yeah, because a lot of these guys, they do end up kind of bouncing back and forth. But I think, obviously, you got Quicksilver, and then you've got Scarlet Witch. And if there's Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver...
I saw it said Scarlet Witch is off-world.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I'm confused about that.
But also, like, Polaris as well. We could end up with Polaris.
Yeah.
So I didn't freeze frame either on the poster, but I remember I was furiously looking. I was like, yes. But I wonder what's going to... Is Cable going to be rounding these guys up? Sorry, not Cable. Is Bishop?
I think Bishop's creating X-Force.
I think it must be because
Wolverine was not shown.
Yeah.
On the Wolverine doesn't seem to be in any time period at the moment.
Yeah, he's just dying somewhere. Somewhere.
So I could imagine Bishop's able to track down, I guess, a metalless Wolverine, Archangel. Forge, Colossus, Bishop. That's X-Force.
You were right about Gambit being a horseman, by the way.
Yeah, I thought he became a horseman at one point.
Yeah, no, but it's in like... Because Apocalypse is on Krakoa and then he picks up some dust. I think he's going to find Gambit's body. There's a post-credit scene.
There's a post-credit scene?
Yeah, I feel obliged to tell you. I was watching the not click on in your face then. So no, it's just Apocalypse is just on Genosha, and then I can't remember what he says. He says it online, but it's just it's not.
Pauses and I'll go watch it now.
You can if you want. It's literally there's nothing to it, but yeah. So I think that's what's going to happen, and maybe even Madeline. So I think the people that we thought, that's a bit early, they'll end up being.
Exodus. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So. Okay. Anything? Do you think they're going to try and tie this into the wider MCU?
Nah, I hope not. It's in the what if style,
Okay,
so I think we might see.
Wait. There's a hope and there's an expectation.
Oh, right.
Because I hope not too, but what do you think they're going to do?
I think that these characters, other version of them, may appear in season 3 of What If.
Okay.
But that's it. I think that there's so much going on here, and they already have Avengers and other superheroes in this world. I hope.
Cameos, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Cloak and Dagger are mutants, by the way, so I don't know why.
No, I don't think they are.
They're not.
No, I think they're just, what do you call them, mutates. I don't think they're mutants.
I thought they were mutants. So.
Yeah. Obviously, it just gets dumb because it's kind of just like, why are we cool with them? And Cloak and Dagger are a weird
But that's the thing, because they're not cool with Cloak and Dagger. They're like outcasts, aren't they?
Yeah, but that's because Cloak has, like, anxiety or whatever. He's just,
Whatever.
Yeah.
Those cool cameos. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And Mary Jane, OG Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. So no, you don't think it's going to be part of the MCU?
No.
I think they'll be furiously looking for a way, and I think they'll find it's impossible.
Yeah, if they know what's good for them, just leave it. Because otherwise you're gonna take what people liked about this, and you are gonna ruin it, and then it's just yeah.
Here's a question for you though.
Yes. Maybe
it's just me. Do you still want to see a live action X-Men?
Yeah, but
okay.
I think I would like it. Sounds so boring, but like perhaps even darker in tone than this. I think there can be moments of levity and you can have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this was so good because Disney didn't really have high hopes for it, as it was just another revival.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really meticulously oversaw. It wasn't going to be consequential to the rest of their brand.
I saw Kevin Feige listed as a producer, and I thought he just gave them some money. Like I thought there wasn't a close eye on it.
I think so, because from what I gauged, it didn't even seem to be like a massive team, and like I'm kind of just like. Firstly, Invincible, hang your head in shame. Like,
I still ain't seen season 2.
Oh, mate, it's just like, I'm not going to go into it again, but yeah. But like, as well, I think they were allowed the creative freedom to do all of this because there were less eyes on it.
We say this all the time, like, just let the creators create.
Exactly. Well, they know what they're doing.
That's like all the best films at the moment are low budget, because from the executive's point of view, there's no risk in it. So I guess it's probably the same here.
Oh, like, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is just about to come. Well, it's just come out, mate. So
yeah, I can't wait for that.
let me not agree with you yet.
But yeah, overall, it's up there as one of the best series of superhero stuff that's come out that I've seen. But
ever? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you did put it in your list, didn't you?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I did put it in my list. It's top.
Yeah, I'm excied to see what they'll do in season 2.
I'll let the dust settle.
No, I think it's okay.
It's stuck because
it's not been a one-day release. You haven't binged it.
No, exactly.
We've had 2.5 months of enjoying this,
and it stuck the landing. At the time of episode 7, I thought if the landing ain't right, it's gonna be an awful shame. But it stuck the landing.
Do you know what I would like to see? I don't want them to get rid of the episodes where we see things just about specific characters and stuff.
Definitely.
What I would like to see, if they can manage it, obviously, because there's quality over quantity, I wouldn't mind seeing more episodes again. I'll have an episode...
23 season episode.
Yeah.
Episode season.
I'll have an episode of Morph and Wolverine just goofing off. Like, just...
Yeah, someone's goofing something.
Okay, well, no, but like... You know, either them just they think they're hanging out, and then they realise that Morph finally tells his feelings. There's no fight, there's no stakes. It's just It's just a romantic, plot. I would like to see more. The fact that they were going to make Daredevil 18 episodes.
Yeah,
it should be the other way around.
Yeah, it should really be. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. I have no idea where this is going to go in terms of this time slipping stuff, because maybe Cable. I don't know how they're going to do timelines in this show.
I don't know how they're going to do the Jean Grey thing. So Jean Grey and Cyclops' timeline. I don't know how they're going to rectify that. but they're not definitely. I'm pretty certain they're making X-Force.
I think annoyingly, I think that either some or all the characters are going to spend either this season or most of the season in the time periods they're in.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not.
I think they're going to be there for 5-6 episodes.
I wouldn't mind that if
No, me neither.
no, I was gonna say I wouldn't mind if in the in between period they decided to change that and maybe they just do some stuff in the first couple of episodes that like changes the timeline and then they have to come back to the present and deal with it.
Okay.
Because
look,
I want to see more of them together.
When someone does something this good, I'm just happy to I'm gonna go with you.
Do you think you'd hold this in such high regard if episode 5 didn't happen? I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I'm not saying like even only episode 5 made the show. I think it's good, but
even well, I guess this is impossible. But if episode 7, 8, 9, and 10 happened, I'd still feel the same way. But obviously those
still really good.
About 5.
Yeah. Well, if my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike, mate. So we coulda, shoulda, woulda.
So I'd say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I genuinely think so.
I think so. Yeah, I think so as well.
Without episode 5, they averaged an 8.5 an episode.
Well,
I
was hooked every Wednesday morning for the 4 weeks before episode 5.
You know me, like I don't rush to watch anything.
Yeah, but I was all in for it.
I'm watching it before I go to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't. And you know what I like as well? They don't try and schedule it for an American time, so it's not like 5 o'clock here, so it's there. It's just like it's Wednesday.
Let's go.
You got Disney Plus. You're on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Now I got high hopes for next season, and I have absolutely no idea where it's going to go. The only thing I'm pretty sure they're going to do is X-Force. Obviously, they're going to do Apocalypse, and I wonder. I don't. Clearly, Lady Aksani? Askani? The lady at the end? You ran the clan? Why are you looking at me like that?
Whether who? Oh, in the future?
In the future. What was her name? Lady Aksani?
I don't know.
Clearly that was a name drop, but I don't recognise the name.
And she said something about sapiens on the West Coast as well.
Yeah. So something's clearly happening there as well. I don't know that storyline from that name drop. But I think they've got big plans for it.
Okay.
But yeah. Look, we've gone from something great, and I think next time we talk, we're going to be talking about some terrible things.
Absolute booters, mate.
So next week we're doing our top 5 worst comic book movies of all time. Mm-hmm. We've done our best, we're going to do our worst.
The worst of the worst.
So from the sublime to the surreal.
That's
not the same.
No. Not quite at all, but yeah. Sublime to the stinky, I guess.
Yeah. But until then,
I'll see you. See you next week.